Hey guys, so that Glenn Greenwald video, right? All of this is, of course, I think what we're seeing right now is pretty clear as day. An extortion, blackmail operation run by the intel agencies that are trying to discredit and destroy someone's reputation who has been one of the most pivotal, one of the most important journalists of our time. If you remember Glenn Greenwald, he was a part of the mainstream media establishment. The mainstream media establishment is a part of course, the intel agencies that control them, that spin the web of lies that they push on everyone. He was a part of the Guardian. He made his name by specifically exposing and writing in mainstream media publications some of the biggest bombshell stories of our time. The corporate media, the intelligentsia, doesn't forget, especially when you cross them, especially when you expose them, especially when you're able to release data and information that confirms it with government whistleblowers. I mean, holy freaking cow. And now, within the last few hours, this story broke a couple hours ago. And when it did, automatically I was like, oh, here we go. This is the next type of dirty play that, of course, you're going to see a lot more of. Now, there's also going to be deepfakes. There's also going to be AIs. I want to talk about all of this in this particular video. As of course, I don't have my studio. As you can see here, I'm on the road. I'm moving around. This story is too important not to talk about because it has a lot of very important implications. I was online last night, moving from place to place. Also, I had a very weird interaction. There's weird interactions that I had. I'm going to talk about the one specifically that me and Tim Pool had in Chicago, where the police tried to entrap and snare us. And this is what they routinely do. They started to build databases on very prominent, influential people. And in those databases, they talked about their personal likes, their kind of fantasies, the things that they go online. As a lot of people have come to the conclusion that a lot of the kind of adult content that people kind of consume online, a lot of that are usually big kind of information databases for governments that, of course, correlate that information. And this is why the Rail ID, this is why the track tracing database, this is why the kind of AI surveillance state that we're kind of going to is going to be just beyond sci-fi of what we could even kind of comprehend and understand here, predominantly when it comes to the implications, predominantly when it comes to the bigger things that are going to be happening that are just going to flabbergast and just shock people. Last night, a lot of people on Twitter were shocked. I was shocked. I was like, I don't want to see this. And, you know, Glenn Greenwald responded to this. And he says he's not embarrassed. He's trying to find out who actually released this. It looked like a retweet from him of the actual type of tape you're looking, that there was probably something else happening behind the scenes here. As, again, this has been the guy that has been one of the biggest thorns in the intelligentsia. You think the intelligentsia that's connected to, of course, all of your spying device, all of your apparatuses, all of your cell phone devices, all of the things that, of course, they just take from you. We were exposing this story all the way back before Edward Snowden came out. We confronted the head of the NSA, the head of the CIA, and we said, hey, why are your agents, why were they caught spanking it to people's private images and photos? They're like, no, it doesn't happen. It did. Edward Snowden came out. Glenn Greenwald helped Edward Snowden release the data, release the information. And then when he did, that led to tremendous amounts of shock within the normies. Since, of course, Glenn was a mainstream media kind of journalist. And he actually provided credibility to those types of institutions that finally were doing. And then, of course, he got kicked out. And then, of course, he had another kind of weird kind of run-in with some billionaires. And then, he had the Intercept. And then they took the Intercept away from him. I had also very similar stories of having my platforms, my websites, my organizations kind of taken away from me earlier in my career. But throughout my career, there was always extremely weird circumstances and events that I'm extremely cautious. Last night, I think, was even one of them myself. I don't know if I want to get into some of the details of last night, but there's some strange-ish going on. And this is how they operate. This is what you need to know from this particular story here, especially if you are someone who wants to build an online internet presence. If you are someone that is, quote, an influencer. I call it celebritard myself. That's just me. That's what I just like to call myself. But with the story developing as it is here, there's one particular incident that we have to understand here, because there's multiple ways to, of course, try to extort people. And we know the U.S. government, the FBI got their start with J. Edgar Hoover doing secret tapes of all these politicians, of MLK. The FBI were literally recording the boom boom phone sessions of MLK. When MLK was in jail, they called his wife and they started to play the recorded boom boom audio sessions with his side piece. MLK was a freak, by the way. Whatever. But did it matter that someone has, some people say yes. And I see some slander against Glenn Greenwald, and I see people saying, this is the face of moral righteousness. And I'm like, what someone does in the privacy of their own bedroom with consenting adults, why does that have to be relevant to their life? Some people say it is. I don't think it is. Because when we look at almost everything that they try to throw at us, everything that they try to ensnare people with, it's always something that, of course, involves relations with other people, accusations against other people. They can't do that. You know what? This is the next type of step. And there have been a lot of prominent people that have been taken out by the FBI. The Mossad does this. They also have been caught, of course, doing this to journalists. The FBI has been caught doing this to journalists, to politicians, to political figures. They do this routinely. And to think that somehow that they stopped doing this is an absolute ridiculous misnomer. Glenn Greenwald has been a very outspoken critic. He just did an interview with Tucker Carlson. And I definitely recommend people go watch that particular interview. It was a pretty important, eye-opening interview here as we cover our travel day with our Don't Eat It RFK teacher. Before talking about the crazy story about me and Tim Pool, where they tried to set us up with drugs. They tried to arrest us. We got swatted. Guns put to our heads by Chicago police. Crazy freaking story. Before telling about that, check out the shirts that we got on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. We got this shirt right here. Look at that. It says, "Don't eat that." I was at the freaking TSA line. Be like, "No facial scanning. Get out of here." And then one of the guys was like, "Hey, I like your T-shirt." And I'm like, "Yeah, check it out. Thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Go get it. Support independent media." And this is the thing. The mainstream used to have control of the narrative. They no longer do. Independent media does. I think the establishment is panicking. I think the establishment is going to be releasing compromise, or there's going to be fake compromise, especially now with all these AI videos, because they can't get a lot of the people, right? I'm super careful. I was super careful last night. I wasn't drinking, partying last night. I was hanging out with some friends. Weird situation arose. I'm out. Peace. Like, whoa, why'd you leave us? F off. Listen, I don't play that game, right? I had crazy situations. But again, you want to support this independent media broadcast. You want to support the work that we do. Thebestpoliticalshirts.com. You can get shirts like this. You get other shirts. I want to get hats. Everyone's commenting on that. I want to get hats on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. But the more people that buy, the more we're able to expand and grow our resources. And we're going to be growing and expanding as fast as we can here with everything we could possibly do. Now, throughout my entire career, weird incidences. We're talking about people calling me up. We're gonna take your life. We're gonna take the life of your family members. We know where you are. This is even before the kind of track, trace, and database. Now the intel agencies have everything about you. They know everything you do, right? There's cameras now in freaking blenders, right? And Wi-Fi receptors of blenders, okay? Maybe the camera stuff is a little bit of an exaggeration, but it wouldn't surprise me. But they have all these sensors, and then they have all these like LiDAR, where they don't even need cameras anymore. They have signals, police officers that are doing SWAT now. And this is the public stuff. Imagine the stuff that we don't even know about. The public stuff that we know about. They have literally like radar, echo, bat-like technology that is able to penetrate walls and see through them and know exactly. And this is like SWAT teams entering rooms and homes and be like, where is he? I don't think that's the noise it makes, but... So, do you think they're not using that stuff, especially when it comes to all this 5G stuff, especially when it comes to all this kind of interconnected 15-minute city globalist wet dream that they have been slowly ensnaring us with by setting up sensors, cameras, radars, Wi-Fi, to almost every single thing, every piece of tech that now is being analyzed by not just human beings but AI systems in order to filter out all of the things that could potentially change someone's opinion of someone else. And this is why it's important to be resistant to a lot of this kind of propaganda efforts. It's important to remember, hey, Glenn Greenwald, an important political figure of our time, broke the Edward Snowden story, broke the NSA, CIA surveillance story, broke many other important stories as well. And now people trying to say, oh, he's degenerate. There's something to say about degeneracy in our society and just how it's propelled. And I think it's being propelled because degeneracy in adult content has always been weaponized. Now we're seeing the kind of first battles of this weaponization of this online adult industry that you're going to see everyone's secrets kind of come out here. The U.S. government that's collecting all this data, by the way, they can't keep your data secret. They know what you spank into. They know what you watch. They probably have those little cameras watching you, and they have all those videos. And they're like, hey, we want you to support a certain political cause. Hey, we want you to stop criticizing a certain country. Hey, we want you to, of course, support soda beverages. We want those soda beverages for SNAP benefit people. Those fat poor people deserve soda. We'll pay you. Oh, you don't want the money? You can't be bought. Let's look at your online internet. Let's look at those cameras and surveillance systems that we set up that are in part of almost everything. Let's look at every single private conversation you had in your car, walking down the street. Let's look at every single thing you've done, and then let's extrapolate it, and then let's contact all of the people you had relations with it. And then maybe someone is pissed off. Maybe memory has a weird way of playing. Maybe they remember things a little bit differently in a way where you're the bad guy. Interesting. Oh, we don't got any of that. You're not a criminal. You're not a drug user. Let's set you up. So, let me tell you about this Tim Pool story. Me and Tim Pool were covering, NATO in Chicago. Crazy event. Police state, rampant. There was multiple incidences, and the Chicago police are known for being one of the most corrupted police agencies in all of the United States. We were, brokies then. We were staying at people's couches, people's homes. One of the people that was like, yeah, we're interconnected with this journalist, this person. Later, we found out they're interconnected with Chicago PD and other weird parties. Only after the fact. Then we're like crashing there. We're working. As we're leaving, going back to this place that we're all crashing at, that we're all kind of like. I think we had all of our stuff on the floor. We were sleeping on the floor. We were just trying to cover and report on everything as naturally and as organically. That has been a long time ago. Now, as we're going back, we have multiple squad cars. We're talking about like just surrounding all of us. Minimum 10, all around. Guns out. First, me, I get the camera out. Guy literally takes fire, racks it, freaking puts it to my head. Put the camera down. I was automatically trying to go live because that's the only thing that could save us. Take us out, interrogate us, put us in handcuffs, like take our hard drives, beat the hard drives down, like and then terrorize us essentially. Guns to our head, handcuffed, screaming at us, like, and it's so ridiculous to have police officers targeting journalists, right? Because they knew what they were doing. We had a car that we were driving that was that had plates from New Mexico on it, right? And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Why are you guys terrorizing us? Why are you guys bothering us? People were listening on the police radios. They're like, oh, they're tracking you guys. They're gonna go after you guys after we left. The police officers are like, oh, a case of mistaken identity. I'm like, we have New Mexico plates. What mistaken identity are you talking about that you needed their whole entire police squad in order to terrorize us with? Then we're kind of going off air, and we heard the place that we were staying at was raided from another person that wasn't supposed to tell us. We later found out. And then we found out there's a weird guy there that was like, as we go back, we're going back, we're like terrorized, we just had guns put to our freaking heads. We're going back to the place that we're all crashing at. And one of the guys that was there that we didn't really kind of know that was there because of the person we were staying with, the house was like, oh yeah, I have, I'm getting a phone call from the person at the house telling them to get their like prescription Adderall drugs, which if you're in possession of it and it's not yours, it's a felony, and Chicago treats it very seriously. And the guy's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, wait, we just found out the place we were staying at was raided, and now you want to get like heavy pharmaceutical drugs that are illegal for anyone else to kind of have on them in possession that are not in their names. You want us to carry that and share for that after we were just terrorized by police officers who were still on the police radios looking for us and like trying to stop us again. And I was like, get the hell out of here. So automatically we turned on the live streams. You can still watch the live streams from me and Tim. Me and Tim were like, listen, we're the only ones here that, like, me and Tim are, like, the biggest public figures here. We can only trust each other. We went in there and we recorded. We were like, listen, we're going to go through everyone's stuff right now. We're going to make sure that there's no illegal substances, no illegal drugs, no prescriptions not in your name, nope. And we're going to document. Then we ended up driving to a lawyer's house that we knew. I think the lawyer's actually even connected to the kind of Glenn Greenwald faction there. And we got there so late because we drove out of town. They drove us out of town because they were terrorizing us. And we were like, yeah, if we would have picked up those drugs, if the kid didn't say anything from this person that was there, automatically we would have all kind of went down for drug possession. Everyone would be like, it's not mine, because it isn't. And that's the type of like weird stuff that you have to deal with. Intimidation, harassment, that doesn't work. Now we're going to release personal juicy details about your own personal life that, again, have no relevancy to the conversation of the work that you actually do. So, really crazy insanity. I know there's a lot of people trying to dunk and trying to laugh at Glenn Greenwald, but this is not a laughing matter. And I understand, the internet will be the internet, but try to put yourself in Glenn's shoes. Try to imagine having someone record private, intimate moments and then release that to the general public, which was probably an intel agency. What do you think is going on here? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for getting the t-shirt. This is, again, a travel day. I hope the audio isn't too bad. I think the camera might have been a little bit shaky here. We're doing our best here. I need a camera guy. Buy some shirts, and then maybe I'll be able to get a camera guy here. Of course, the travel day is continuing. Expect more coverage here on youtube.com/WeAreChange. We got a lot of work we're going to be doing for you guys. I want to expand. There's going to be some big events I'm going to try to do my best to be at. I'm saving up all my pennies and doing my best to expand and grow independent media. I can't do that without your support. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/WeAreChange.